very excited to have Michelle here tonight in my coaching highlight, my client spotlight. Super excited to have you here, Michelle. You have been a pleasure to work with, and I can't wait to just really talk about your journey and just really hear about everything and how everything started, and just so you can inspire others to maybe, do something
Yep.
similar to what you're doing. So, why don't I just give you the mic and let you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and
Okay.
things like that.
Well, thank you for having me, first of all.
Yeah.
Um, my name is Michelle. I am going to be 55 in December of this year. We know each other previously. We knew each other previously, I should say. And it was at Chris's urging that Gary and I reach out to you because we were stuck
Yeah.
and we needed guidance.
Yeah.
You know, didn't have a clue about nutrition, didn't have a clue about how important strength training is, that it's not just, losing weight, it's building muscle and things of that nature. So that is what primarily drove us to officially sign on with you in January.
Okay. And what was the turning point that made you realize that you needed that change? Besides that, like, what was something that was just like that you were trying before that things were just not working?
Sure. It was a combination of things. For me, my journey really started about in my 40s, knowing that I needed to pick up the pace. I used to be able to just cruise at whatever I wanted to eat and never gained any weight. Starting in my 40s, it started to add on. I will say, with that said, I was also diagnosed with thyroid issues and was treated for them at some point in my 40s, but was still gaining weight and the thyroid was in check. So obviously, there was something going on with my nutrition and my strength. Um, Tried weight training for a year and a half on my own. Met with a coach at the gym, um, but it was very basic.
Yeah.
And I think he gave the same program to each client that walked through the door. And it's not his fault. I think that's how he was told to work
Yeah.
there. Um, and for me, while I was lifting weights, I didn't really have a clear, concise program like I do with you.
Mm-hmm.
There's reasons behind what you have us doing, whereas there was no real true reason behind what we were doing in that gym. And then just knowing that I was going to be going through menopause at some point and wanting to be stronger, I thought working out was going to be the answer. That was part of the answer, but I didn't have my nutrition dialed in.
Yeah.
Hence the frustration just continued to build until we met you.
Mm-hmm. And what was the things that you have tried? Because I remember you saying on your
Sure.
intake form, you told me like, I don't know exactly what to eat. Like, tell me, what were some of the things that you tried in the past?
Sure. Okay. We had tried intermittent fasting,
Yep.
or so we weren't eating breakfast. We would eat no later than 7 o'clock was the last food that we would put into our bodies, and we wouldn't eat until at least 9 the next morning. That'll be except for coffee, and whatever meds you needed to take. And then we would still try to eat somewhat healthy. So, I would still have some eggs in the morning or a protein bar or something. And then lunch was always the same. It was a salad with a protein with vegetables. And then dinner, we were also cutting out carbs, thinking carbs were bad. Oh my God, carbs are just so bad. And so we were just having like a protein and a vegetable. And yet we were still gaining weight and it was just wasn't working.
Mhm.
So intermittent fasting, no carb, low carb, um, eating what we thought was the proper protein bar. Come to find out, no.
Yeah.
Read the label, and we weren't reading labels, and that's another huge part of the journey was really taking stock of that.
Hmm. And how was that making you feel about like trying different things and just not getting any results?
I felt like a hamster on the wheel, chasing my own tail, running, 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 and not. There was so much information on the internet that it's overwhelming, and you try this way and it doesn't give you what you want, and you try this way and it doesn't give you what you want. And honestly, I wanted to be taken out of the driver's seat. I wanted someone else to tell me what to do, because things that my husband and I had tried just weren't working,
Mhm.
because it was overwhelming. There's just too much out there.
Yeah.
Um, so
Mhm.
that's where it was for us.
Yeah. So when was like the time that you said like I reached my breaking point? I can't do this anymore. Like I tried.
October of 2023.
Okay.
Chris,
What was that? What was it that changed for you?
um, Chris and I met up for coffee,
Oh, okay.
and he was telling me about the journey that the two of you were on, and I was like, oh my goodness, wow, that's really exciting. Let me know when Fabiola actually really takes the plunge, and what's and he's like, she's already done it, Michelle. So hello.
Yeah.
And but going home and talking with Gary and just saying, for 2 months. We talked from October until January, and or so that's what, 3 months plus.
Mhm.
Just talking about, well, everything we've tried hasn't worked,
Yeah.
so we need guidance. We actually sought out a nutritionist through our insurance company, and we were told that it would not be covered by insurance because we did not have heart disease, and we were not morbidly obese.
Wow.
And I was like, so we're trying to be proactive to get ahead of the curveball, because we are aging, we are
Mhm.
maturing. And you're telling me because we're not sick yet, we can't use our health insurance for that. And the woman on the phone was really great. She's like, I don't make the rules, I just have to follow them. And I said, okay. And I said, you know what? It's not going to work with a nutritionist anyways, because I want the whole package. I want someone that's going to tell me about nutrition, and I want someone that's going to tell me about weight training, because I know that from speaking with Chris back in October, you got to do it. And
Mhm.
so that's what led us to you.
Very good. Awesome. So you said us. So yes, so you and your husband both
Mm-hmm.
joined in
Yep.
January, and
Yep.
talk a little bit about how things unfold between this journey, like how things end up happening.
So Gary needed to lose more weight than I did. And for me, it's not just about the number on the scale. I will admit that when I was younger, that I had some eating issues
Okay.
and some weight issues. But I will say that what may have started for an aesthetic appeal quickly after talking with you changed into, oh, let's do better nutrition. Let's feel as good as we can. And yes, let's get that nice body, but let's really learn that you need the muscle in order to have the body, and um, and to be able to pick up my grandchildren and all of this stuff. So sorry, kind of got sidetracked there. So with Gary, he had a little bit more weight to lose. The journey together was really cool because we were going through it together, thick and thin. Um, I will admit he did not work out as much as I did, but he also has a job in which, when there's manual labor, he's like, the last thing I'm going to do is come home and work out because I've done manual labor all day. And I was like, I respect that.
Yeah.
But we did the walking together, and we did the food together, and we meal prepped together, um, and he lost a total of 26 pounds.
That's great.
Um, he has admitted that since ending his portion of the journey with you, he's gained weight back. He quickly came to the realization that, oh, this is a way of life. This was it. I got to get back on board. So he's trying to get back on board. Um, he is he as diligent as he would say I am? Probably not, but he has not gained all of the weight back, and that's the important part. And he has come to the realization that it matters. Everything matters. It's truly got to be a way of life.
Yeah. I think it's a shift that a lot of people still, and sometimes it takes time, I think, for
Mm-hmm.
anybody to
Mm-hmm.
really realize that's like, and even you and I, like, we go back in conversations and you're like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my gosh, I thought that I understood this, but now you've made sense saying this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it's
Absolutely.
right. And do you think it's one of the things like why do you think that people still going in this back and forth thing? Do you think it's part of the problem that they think it's like once they do something for a few months, that's it? They don't realize
I
it's a long game?
I think that that's part of it. Yeah. I think that and I'm only going to speak for women. I think women want to lose that 20 pounds instantaneously. They, and so they do it. But as we've talked and as I'm learning from you, that doing it that quickly, you are bound to have a rebound. And um, that's not good.
Mm.
Uh, the slow approach, well, I'm not going to call it painful. It doesn't give us the instantaneous results that we want.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to be patient with the journey, it's like wow, it's
Hmm.
really good, really good. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, you have been so consistent. I have to say, like a top client. You never miss a check-in ever. I don't think you've ever missed a check-in.
No,
Every Saturday, you got your pictures there, you plug in your weight, and it's like you do your
yeah.
check-ins. It's like a
Even
A.
after just getting out of the hospital, I'm like, I got to get home.
Yes. You're like a A plus student.
Thank you.
So, and you have been able to, you lost a good amount of weight. Like you
Hmm.
are someone that doesn't necessarily need to lose a whole lot of weight, but you have made tremendous change in your body composition already. And most importantly, I think it's like what we talk about here, that it's not just losing the weight, but it's maintaining, keeping it off. And you
Yeah.
have been able to do that through vacations, through birthday parties, through summertime. So talk to me about like how has this experience been life changing for you in that sense?
So knowing my parameters, knowing what to eat, how to eat, when to eat, it's actually, there's a freedom to it. People look at it's restrictive, and I choose to look at it as it's not restrictive. It's giving me guidance. It's giving me tools. So if I want the ice cream with my grandbabies, I plan accordingly with what I'm eating throughout the day. If I want the chocolate cake, I plan accordingly throughout the day. And that is what's made the difference for me in how I can still have my cake and eat it too, quite honestly.
Absolutely.
It's a real truth behind it. Yeah.
You should.
So um, for me, having the app and figuring out how to eat and when to eat, and we've worked together quite a bit about because I've got some dietary restrictions.
Right.
I am gluten free and I am dairy free because I have to be,
Yeah.
and so there's been some things like the yogurt, for example. I eat a dairy free yogurt, and it's like, well, I thought this was going to be this way. And you're like, nope, it's this way. It's, I can still have it.
Yeah.
And I do.
Mhm.
I add a protein powder to it and it's okay. But that also means that later on I have to realize that I can't have maybe quite as many carbs and fats later. So that's okay. It's all good. Checks and balances.
Yes.
Very liberating for me, actually.
Yeah. What was the biggest shift? I mean, you talk about that part of nutrition, but was like anything in your nutrition that it's like really you're like, wow, I like about the carbs, for example. Like, are you now
Mm-hmm.
afraid of carbs? Like, is there like, do you
No.
think your fear of food is like is it the same? How is it now? Your relationship with food?
For the first time as an adult, um, I don't fear food. I Gary will say that I'm still very well, you're that girl that can just have two M&Ms and walk away. And that is part of I will say my eating issues from my youth. Um, but it's also in some ways helped me
Yeah.
kind of stay with the macros easier
Mhm.
than Gary has. Um, but it's just I don't fear it. I don't fear
Right.
any food group whatsoever. And that's really
And that
cool.
is beautiful because that way you learned that you don't, it's not a forbidden thing anymore, right? You
Correct.
can have a little bit. And I
Yes.
think that's why a lot of people fail is because they restrict and then they
Yeah.
can't stop thinking about it. And
Yes.
when they have it, they're like, nope, now I'm going to have the whole bag and more.
Yep.
And then,
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, when Gary and I first started the journey, we did not allow any sweets in the house. There was no chocolates. There was no. Um, the grandbaby still had their ice creams, but we were not doing it. And then when we understood how to incorporate and okay, if we want the ice cream, we just have to give up maybe carbon fat earlier in the day or throughout the week or something. We started allowing those things back in, and typically I still have a piece of chocolate once a night. And when I say a piece of chocolate, it's like a Hershey's Kiss or two,
Yeah.
um, the dark chocolate, and that satisfies my sweet tooth. The other the,
100%.
the other thing that you taught us is condiments matter, and what you use for condiments really matters. We make a Brussels sprout that requires a Thai chili sauce. We chose one that we liked, and then you were like, that's a little high in sugar. You might want to check out this one over here. And when we did, it was like, oh my God, the calorie difference, the sugar difference, and just swapping that out, swapping out your salad dressings. Um, I've never liked creamy dressings, so that's easy for me to use a vinaigrette. But even the vinaigrettes I was using still had way more calories and sugar and crap than what you have shown me to use now. And it's, again, small changes make huge differences.
Because I think that's where a lot of people don't realize those things. Those little
Yes,
things that we just go, woof,
yes,
add on is like 1,000 calories at the end of the day that you don't even realize it.
yes, yes, indeed. Like going out to a restaurant, there's so
Oh,
many
yes.
people that'll order a salad and then they have the salad dressing, and you look at some restaurants put what their calorie consumption for that salad is, and it's like 14 or 1500 calories. And here I'm having a steak and some
Right?
broccoli and some potato, and my meal's maybe 700 calories.
If that.
So there's just a huge difference. It's
Gotta make
very
smart
eye-opening.
choices. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's fantastic. And how about there's actually something that I want to ask about. How about protein? How were you before this journey? I mean,
uh,
it's something that I always
yeah.
want to ask.
Um, wow, were we way under eating in our protein? Oh my God. And I knew that protein was filling, but I kept thinking, oh, it's got to be too many calories. We can't eat this. We can't. And now I'm like, oh hell yeah, we can eat that protein. And I choose to supplement. Um, so for me, I have real protein with each meal, and then I typically have two protein shakes during the day. One at snack in the morning, and then one right after I have a workout. And if I don't work out in the afternoon, I still have my protein shake, and I still take my creatine with that protein shake.
Mhm.
So, yeah, and creatine, I don't know why I was so hesitant about it, because it's made a huge difference um, in muscle recovery. After a workout, I feel like I can go right back at it again the next day with obviously a different muscle group, but still um, no fear in going down and working out. Yeah.
Very good. And you feel like the protein element is something important besides just being a macronutrient? Like now you understand why do we have that in there?
Yes, yes, and much like you said, if you can't get if you have a choice between strength training and or cardio, get your strength training in. My philosophy is if I can only get one food group in for whatever reason, it's going to be a protein.
There you go. A plus, Michelle.
Oh, thank you very much. You're a
A
good teacher.
plus. Very good. All right. So now let's talk about. I remember one of the things that you said in your intake was like talking about confidence, and you said about how you were feeling that your confidence levels were so low, and then you're like,
Hmm.
where did my confidence go? I'm letting my fear win. Did I
Hmm.
leave it when I went through menopause? So talk to us about,
Yeah,
how has it been your experience about that? I know a lot of women struggle during this time. They feel
sure.
hopeless, and I know that you actually implement some of
Yeah.
HRT and stuff like that. But how was that before we started? Was it like doing anything to you? If you don't mind, elaborate a little bit on.
No, not at all. So the confidence had gone out the window because it wasn't just about the weight. It's, you know, for me going through menopause, so much changed. And I had a relatively mild perimenopause and menopause. Um, my biggest symptoms were my hot flashes, my sleep was interrupted, and when I started working out at the gym in 2018, I was crying all the time. Like the silliest commercial would make me cry. The silliest thing my husband would say would make me cry, and we were, I'd be laughing and crying at the same time. So menopause, um, it's liberating in the aspect that it's like, yay, no more period, but like, holy hell, what it does to your body elsewhere. So right before starting to see you, I decided to um, go see a woman at Northampton Integrative Medicine in Northampton. Her name is Michelle Goulet. And she had already treated me for with bioidentical hormone replacement therapy from 2018 to 2020, right
Hmm.
around there. I chose to get off thinking that, oh, I'm through menopause, everything's great. Um, but getting off of the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy pushed everything again, and it made the weight keep kicking on. It made the sleep unbearable. It made um, I was very moody. That was a new thing, like biting people's heads off, and while I can do that naturally, it was amplified. Um, so I right before seeing you, I started seeing Michelle again and went back on the bioidentical hormone replacement therapy, and we have very slowly over time increased my levels because as she has witnessed my journey with you and my body composition has changed, um, if I said to her, I'm feeling like I'm starting to retain and bloating again, she's like, oh, we need to change your estradiol because how you're working out and how much weight in training you're doing with strength training can it's all intertwined.
Interesting.
So it's an accumulative effect. It's the nutrition component, it's the
Mhm.
strength training component. And for me, my choice, not saying anybody has to do it, but for me, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy was the way to go.
Very good. And
Hmm.
I feel like you have the perfect scenario because you have all three on deck.
Yes.
So
And
I
I
think
think it's
that's
made a huge difference,
100%
a
because
huge
you
difference.
don't have those all those symptoms that unfortunately a lot of women don't
Yeah,
address them because they think it's normal, they think
right.
it's
And unfortunately, doctors are quick to be like, oh, your anxiety's through the roof. Oh, I've got a pill for that. Well, how about we talk about hormones? How about we talk about if so many women say the same thing during menopause, how about we address that? And as we're finding, through social media and everywhere else, the news finally picking up that we need to be treating these women better.
right.
And so networking is a huge thing. Um, Finding the right physicians that will listen is really important. And I just happen to have a really great team, a team to
Yes.
take care of me.
That's great. And you advocate for yourself. You're like, no,
Yes.
this the way that I feel right now, it's not okay. And you
Correct.
actually find answers. Like if you
Yes.
just settle for, oh, what you're feeling is just part of menopause, just suffer it.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah.
I
And
said,
I just,
take a anti-anxiety pill and
yep.
here it is.
Yep. And I just, no, that's just not the way I choose to live. So yeah.
Very good. So do you feel like now you're 10 months ahead of the game now, going back? How do you feel
Mhm.
compared to when we started 10 months ago? If you can look back.
Looking back, it is the best thing that you make us take photos every week because when I see my body in the morning, I'm like, I've made no change. I don't feel like I've changed. But yet then you're like, okay, pull your head out of your behind and look at the photos. And the photos don't lie.
No.
Um, but and again, I haven't lost a tremendous amount of weight at
No.
all, but my body composition has changed to the point that I need new clothes. I bought a bunch of new clothes for summer because nothing fit anymore. Everything was too big.
That's a great
Um,
problem to have.
It is, and I'm finding that my fall clothes that I've been trying on, I'm like, yeah, these don't work either. I need new clothes. And again, it's not that I've lost a huge amount of weight. It's just my shape has changed, and
Yeah.
it's really powerful, really,
Yeah.
really powerful. So when I forget or when I look at myself in the mirror and I doubt, I think of those pictures and I look at that very first picture and I'm like, I've done good.
And
I've
even
done
your
good.
expression on your face. So your posture too.
Yeah.
It's like you're very proud and it's like,
Well, I also think that weight training has helped my posture. I have a very sedentary job. My hands are always in a forward motion. I'm always on a computer screen. So you've got that forward motion. Yeah, I'm inclined to have that little hump that as women get older, some women get it, some women are blessed and don't. I was one of those that was starting to get it. And I truly believe that strength training has helped to reverse a lot of negative things. And just haven't gained strength, but my posture has changed.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say because I remember you saying that about that you've tried the strength training and everything else, and you were intimidated by the gym. And
Yep.
now, like I look at your training, I'm like, I'm doing 45 pounds and the dumbbells, RDLs, and all
Hmm.
that stuff. Like, how has that changed for you in the terms of strength training? You became like someone that really fell in love with the strength training.
I get grumpy if I don't work out now.
Yeah.
I fully admit it. I Well, I'm not that girl that goes 5 days hard. I go 4 days in the gym. I make sure to get my 4 days. Um, I have not always been consistent, and it. That's the beauty of this journey is it's all
Yes.
in what you make of it. Um, and I will admit that in the beginning, I maybe got 3 workouts in a week, but now I'm really striving for that fourth workout. And uh, the walking is secondary for me. I used to
Hmm.
think that had to be primary, and now that's not what needs to happen.
Hmm.
So, um, yes, I get grumpy without strength training, and
Yeah.
and I'm still intimidated. Like, can I really do this? Do I really have that power? There were a few things as we both have talked. I had to go back on my partial RDLs, and I'm now working my way back up to that strength, being very careful. But it's pretty cool,
Hmm.
pretty cool. Like there's some weights I feel super, super strong. Like, wow, I'm doing 25-pound dumbbells for my bent over rows, single bent over
That's
row.
great.
But yet there's others where my biceps, I'm like, okay, this is 8 pounds today with whatever. But it's okay, and I'm
But
I'm
I think
getting
it's
there.
like that's the thing that we need to learn. And it's funny because I was listening to Peter Attia talking the other day, and he talks about those things that our training should be really focused on the parts that we are weak.
Hmm.
So it's like if you are good at something already, like the things that you would gain by walking is fantastic, but we need
Yes.
to focus about the things that are harder for ourselves to do. Like you said, the biceps is something that you need to work on. So that is your goal. You're going to be working
Yep.
on getting the strength in there because you want to have good grip strength and things like that. Same thing with the shoulder movements and all
Yep.
that stuff about mobility and being able the RDLs that we do to be able to get up and down, hinge our hips so you don't have
Hmm.
back issues and you have a good center that's strong on your body.
Yes.
That's why like we do the kind of training that we do, so it's not just about the aesthetics, it's just the cherry
Right.
on top.
It is, and I will say this: I see a chiropractor on a monthly basis. I am a person who has some back issues, um, and so seeing a chiropractor for me once a month is like a maintenance thing. And even he has commented, there's some muscle here, and wow, and things are holding together, and you're not
That's
needing the
great.
adjustments that you used to need. Your core strength is wow, you're finally getting that core strength we've been talking about, and I'm like, yeah, it's really great. And he's like, yep, you're doing wonderful. And so yay me on that. So everything has gotten better. There isn't one thing that has been either stagnant or bad about this journey whatsoever. Not one.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So, like summarizing everything, like what do you think it has motivated you? Like, I know we talk about the weight loss, like you said, like, do you think the difference that the misconception that you had before, like you said, you didn't really lose a lot of weight. Let's say we lost
Hmm.
about 10 pounds, right now.
Right. Yep.
Would you think before that you would have to lose more to look the way that you look now?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And I'm practicing knowing that I will probably gain weight, but looks more lean.
Smaller.
And um, again, with someone who's had eating issues in the past, now only weighing myself once a week has again been very freeing because
Yeah.
I used to obsess about what the number. While I still think it's a good gauge,
Yep.
the pictures don't lie.
No.
The weights that I'm lifting don't lie. As long as I'm able to either maintain that weight and or do progressive overload like we talk about, then I know I'm going in the right direction.
Very good. So
Yeah.
what would you say that's like the biggest lesson that you've learned about this whole journey? Like, what would you say that has been the biggest impact in your life since we started this?
The biggest impact has been is finally learning the nutrition. But I can't say that without the strength training. The strength training has been life altering, both of them. It has helped. It helps with that anxiety. It helps with that, you're sleeping. It helps with it's just all encompassing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why do you think that people are sometimes hesitant to make changes in their journey? Like, why do you think that people are so hesitant?
Because I think we use the wrong words. I think that I think that there's a lot of times, um, first of all, I hate the word diet. It's not allowed in my house. We don't use it. It's a way of eating.
There we go.
Um, it's a healthier version. Um, Diet has a negative thing for me, and I think that when women, especially, and I'm thinking of some of my friends that have gone on journeys and they just want to lose weight, um, that that we all get stuck on the number on the scale, and it shouldn't always be about the number on the scale. It should be about learning nutrition.
Yeah.
Um, Not judging anyone though, because everybody's journey is different, but learning nutrition and not eliminating. You don't have to eliminate food groups
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
obtain what you want to obtain.
And also have a plan for afterwards, right?
Yes.
Because I think majority of the time people just get caught up, like you said, the number on the scale is just, we just need to
Yes.
lose weight. And then, but what are we going to do when we lose the weight?
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's a part where I sent a message to you today that was kind of last night's coaching call that I listened on my way to work was that yes, it's a never ending journey.
Never.
And so the best thing to do for your body, the way I understood the coaching call is let's be, we've done fat loss, then we've done maintenance. Now we're gonna add a little bit in, and then we're gonna cut, not cut, but cut, lean out, and that it's a journey. And how perfect is it that it coincides with the seasons?
Yes.
That's the way I choose to look at it. There's a
Yes.
little more freedom. There's going to be
Totally.
a little more freedom for the
Yes.
holiday season,
Yes.
and then come January, it's like, okay, let's
Hmm.
just start to dial it in a little bit more. And I think that so many people during that holiday season, they go off the rails, and then to come back, in January, everybody puts that pressure on themselves. We got to get skinny, and we got to get this, and we got to get that, and it's like, no, 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 no.
Have a
It's
plan.
just